Alright, we're back at it with Hulk. This is Incredible Hulk 320, the first issue by Al Milburn, who takes over from Jason Byrne. To look at the cover, you might sigh because it seems like more of the same. Hulk fighting Doc Shanna again. But Al Milburn is effectively done with that angle after this issue. He is using his first issue to put it to bed, and do so in the only real satisfying way after Jason Byrne's stuff. If you didn't bother with the Jason Byrne run, there is backstory that I need to cover. Hulk is on a seemingly endless rampage. This is because Hulk and David Banner were physically separated. They were split into two. Hulk is now a savage beast without David Banner's intellect or humanity in him. And David Banner is a weak scientist without Hulk waiting to burst out. Al Milburn isn't, I think, anyone's idea for who should replace Jason Byrne as writer-artist. But what he does bring to the table is a willingness to play with, flesh out, and properly resolve Jason Byrne's leftover strands. Other writers would quickly get through them, but Al Milburn is taking his time to treat them like valid stories that were unfortunately left unfinished by their writer. One of those is the Hulk Busters, characters I would have hoped Jason Byrne had more plans for because they are non-entities so far. Another returning character in its own right is the silly Diane copter, a weird flying contraption a news lady was using that Doc Shanna stole to chase Hulk in. We get a detailed recap of Jason Byrne's run. It's a detailed recap, and it still only takes 2 pages. That's how little actually happened in that run. I don't want to derail discussion of Al Milburn's takeover or creative duties, but I did find some, not many, but some references by Jason Byrne to what he didn't get around to doing in Hulk in an interview in Marvel Age, which was promoting him taking over the series. He says that the Doc Shanna hunting Hulk crap would have gone on for 12 issues, or another 12 issues, which is unbelievable. It had already ran out of steam. But the other thing, he outlines a plot for an issue. The issue never got done. It was never done by him or anyone else. He was going to have the Metal Master from Hulk issue 6 return, and the Metal Master was going to use his powers to bring to life and control the Adamsantium Hulk statue from the Bill Bungalow run, and so Hulk would fight an indestructible animated statue of himself. I actually really like that idea. If Jason Byrne had managed to do that, it'd have been one of his best issues on Hulk. It's a nice idea, a good story for an issue. We get another Doc Shanna and Hulk fight, which then is seen by the Hulk Busters, who rush to join in and capture their target. Elsewhere, we pick up on Dickie Jones. Dickie Jones will end up being a substantially important character in Al Milburn's run, but now he is in hospital. He is recovering after being shot by Harrison Ford in 319. I should talk about Al Milburn's scripting. It's fine when there is action or fights. He knows to kind of shut up then. But the character stuff, the bits with Banner or the Hulkbusters, that writing, their dialogue, very awkward, very clunky, incredibly imprecise. He could achieve the same with a lot less words. Happy to see Diane back, Diane the news lady. Al Milburn is keeping all the plates spinning. The Hulkbusters, Diane. Maybe we will even get to see Diane retrieve a Diane copter. We have another thing too, and that is the Avengers, Earth's mightiest heroes. Both Avengers and West Coast Avengers. This is building on Jason Byrne's best issue of Hulk, 316. Every issue after that one, I pointed out how Jason Byrne had neutered himself by bringing out the Avengers that early on, making the subsequent issues of just Doc Shanna fighting Hulk feel like nothing. Well, Al Milburn may have realised that too, and he seems to know the only way to appropriately top what came quite early in the story is to bring the Avengers back, but now with more of them. I know people don't think much of Al Milburn as a creator, but I think nearly everyone would agree that, while not written tremendously, it is fun. And fun is something that Jason Byrne started to lose focus of fast. One of the things Al Milburn doesn't explore or acknowledge is the idea we got a couple of times that this Hulk without Banner, we were seeing that despite Doc Shanna's declarations that he was a mindless beast, we saw traces of instinct or very remedial intelligence. He laid in wait to trap Doc Shanna. There was the choice not to use violence in his encounter with a supposedly peaceful Native American. We saw he has memories of everything in that Marvel Fun Fair. I wasn't planning to, but I suppose I'll use cutaways there. This, though, this is a mindless Hulk, at least in this issue. Maybe Sir Al will in at the mines in the next few issues, but there's no trace of that here. This is a great bit, though. After being critical of Al Milburn's writing of the Banner bits, this page shows the finesse I wish he had for the rest of the comic. The Hulkbusters phone up Dickie Jones. They are looking for David Banner. They are trying to contact David Banner. But Dickie Jones was just having a heart-to-heart with Jennifer Connelly / Liv Tyler about how David Banner's obsession with stopping Hulk is maybe even worse than when he was Hulk. So Dickie Jones, for his friends, he pretends David Banner isn't there, so that this one time the green monster doesn't come between David Banner and Jennifer Connelly and Liv Tyler. We have an advertisement for the ongoing mystery of the Orb Gobbler. I think this was referencing the advert. It was chiefly promoting Amazing Spider-Man 275, a big off-anniversary issue, although the cover of Gobbler is exploding out of would appear to be 277, an issue which doesn't even feature of Gobbler. There is some more fighting between Hulk and Doc Shanna and the Hulk Busters, with provided commentary by Diane. And what sets this apart from before is that they are very definitively beaten by Hulk. Doc Shanna is beaten. The Hulk Busters are trashed. Neither of them made any strides against Hulk. They were a short distraction at best. As for David Banner, he has left to go on his honeymoon, but finally receives communication about Hulk's rampage, which causes him to faint. One last thing I want to bring up, I cannot believe I missed this in the actual review. When he got married, I said it was ridiculous that nobody besides Dickie Jones attended. But then I realised someone who was obviously missing from the wedding. Where the flying fuck was She-Hulk? Jason Byrne had her in an earlier issue. She-Hulk was under his control in Fantastic Force. There is no good reason for She-Hulk not to be at her cousin's wedding. I think Al Milburn gets off to a competent start, but the key problem is he is following Jason Byrne, and Al Milburn, for all the admiration and respect I have for Al Milburn, he isn't Jason Byrne. At least on Fantastic Force, they replaced Jason Byrne with Royce Sternum and Jeremy Ordinary. The crowd that were now buying Hulk all of a sudden because Jason Byrne was doing it weren't going to stick around too long with Al Milburn writing and doing art. It's like going from the Beatles to Steely Dan. 7 thumbs up.